Do you know that the most dangerous lie we have been told about healing is that time heals all wounds? Or perhaps you have been told that you should forgive and forget, as if your mind has a simple delete button for your most painful memories. The truth is that holding onto a grudge is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. This video is the final chapter of our series where we move beyond just managing resentment and into the territory of total emotional liberation. We are going to explore the psychology of how you can actually wipe your mental slate clean and move forward without the heavy weight of the past. By looking at the wisdom of 3 legendary experts on this topic, we will discover how to turn a haunting memory into a powerless piece of history. Many people believe that forgetting means you have somehow developed amnesia or that you are choosing to be naive about the person who hurt you. However, Lewis Smedes, who wrote the foundational book titled Forgive and Forget, argues that forgetting is actually a form of mental surgery. He explains that when you forgive someone, you are performing a delicate operation on your own soul to cut away the cancerous growth of past pain. You are not erasing the event from your history books, but you are removing the poison from the memory itself. Smedes suggests that to forget is to experience what he calls magic eyes, which is the ability to see the person who harmed you in a brand new light. This does not mean you approve of what they did, but you begin to see them as a flawed and broken human being instead of a powerful monster. Smedes illustrates this through the example of a person who was deeply betrayed by a parent or a spouse. For years, you see that person only through the lens of their betrayal, which makes them appear like a giant shadow looming over your entire life. Mental surgery allows you to shrink that shadow back down to a human size so that the person no longer dominates your thoughts. When the person who hurt you loses their power to scare or anger you, the memory naturally begins to fade into the background of your life. This is the first step toward peace because it shifts the focus away from the offender and back onto your own healing journey. You are essentially telling your brain that the crisis is over and it no longer needs to keep the memory in the front of your mind for survival. The reason we struggle to let go often comes down to the way our brains are wired to protect us from future harm. Dr. Fred Luskin, the director of the Stanford Forgiveness Projects, explains that we often get stuck in what he calls grievance stories. A grievance story is a repetitive internal narrative where you cast yourself as the helpless victim and the other person as the intentional villain. According to his research in the book Forgive for Good, we stay angry because we are trying to enforce rules that we have no power to control. These are what he calls unenforceable rules, which are the demands we make that life or other people must act exactly the way we want them to. We might tell ourselves that a friend must never lie or a partner must always be supportive, but we cannot actually force these outcomes. By identifying these unenforceable rules, you can begin to dismantle the internal courtroom that has been keeping you trapped in a cycle of constant re-litigation. Dr. Luskin points out that when we focus on these rules, our bodies remain in a state of high stress as if the injury is happening right now. This physical reaction is what makes the memory feel so fresh and impossible to forget. Learning to trade your unenforceable rules for a simple preference for kindness allows your nervous system to finally calm down and rest. If you are finding these insights helpful, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. Your support helps other viewers who are struggling to find their own peace of mind find this information. Once you recognize that your grievance story is what is keeping the pain alive, you can begin the work of rewriting your personal narrative. Dr. Luskin suggests that we should transform our victim stories into hero stories by focusing on our own resilience instead of the other person's cruelty. For example, instead of saying that someone ruined your life, you can say that you survived a difficult situation and became much stronger because of it. This transition is not about being weak or letting someone off the hook, but it is about deciding that your peace of mind is more important than your desire for justice. When you stop demanding that the past be different, you finally gain the power to live fully in the present moment. The final step in our journey involves a very specific and intentional process of letting go that has been practiced by some of the most resilient people on Earth. Desmond Tutu, a world-renowned leader who helped heal a nation after massive social conflict, outlined a method called the Fourfold Path in his book, The Book of Forgiving. He teaches us that we must first tell the story of our hurt and then give a clear name to the specific emotions we are feeling. You cannot forget something that you have not fully acknowledged because suppressed emotions will always find a way to resurface. Only after we have acknowledged the full extent of the damage can we begin to grant forgiveness and decide whether to renew or release the relationship. Tutu emphasizes that granting forgiveness is a gift you give to yourself rather than a favor you do for the person who hurt you. Releasing the relationship is often the most vital part of forgetting because it means you are no longer waiting for the other person to change or apologize. You are choosing to walk away from the emotional debt they owe you and declaring that the account is settled forever. Tutu shares stories of people who lost family members to violence yet found peace by choosing to see their shared humanity with the perpetrators. This act of release is what finally breaks the invisible chain that has kept you tethered to the person who caused you so much suffering. When the chain is broken, you are finally free to walk in a different direction and leave the memory of the weight behind you. Forgiving and forgetting is not a one-time event that happens overnight, but it is a consistent practice of choosing your own freedom over your own bitterness. We have learned that forgetting is not about losing your memory, but it is about losing the emotional charge that makes those memories painful. Smedes taught us that we can perform mental surgery to stop the pain, and Luskin showed us how to stop telling the victim stories that keep the wound open. When you follow the fourfold path of Desmond Tutu, you gain the ultimate power to release your offenders and reclaim your future. You can stop being the guardian of your own pain and start being the architect of your own happiness. You deserve to live a life that is defined by your hopes and your dreams rather than by the scars that other people have left behind. Real forgetting happens when the memory of the event no longer triggers a physical or emotional reaction in your body. It becomes just another fact in your personal history, like the weather from 5 years ago or a movie you saw a long time ago. You have the strength to let go and the right to live a life that is completely and beautifully your own. Thank you for watching.